Welcome back to our math review. Woo! Okay, so in this video, we will be covering unit conversions and dimensional analysis, okay? Okie dokes, let's get started. So this is section D on unit conversions. So first, I know we briefly touched upon this in the last section or last video, but why are units important? I hope that what you're thinking is that, so we can have a common language, right? Thinking about actual measurements. Let's say I tell you my dog is 40. 40 what? 40 years? That seems odd for a dog. 40 what? 40 kilograms? 40 units of cuteness? It's probably that one. But see, without using common units for our measurements, there's no way we can talk about, about these topics together. What units do we use then? Like, how do we decide which base unit is the correct one? The answer to that is that scientists, like just in general, scientists decided that the SI units, so SI stands for System I can spell International, also known as the metric system. So we use these SI units. Okay. The most common units that we will use include these ones. So length in meters, time in seconds, and mass in kilograms. But sometimes we are not given these standard units. Sometimes we're given more of the American equivalent, right? Like inches or feet or pounds instead of meters and kilograms. So we need to be able to convert these units. Let's look at this example. In this, my dog gets the zoomies and just starts running, and she runs 12 yards. How many meters is this? So there are, after I Googled, 3 feet in 1 yard, right? So this is the ratio I know. And I know that she ran 12 yards. So what I get here is 12 times 3 is 36. So this is 36 feet, right? Okay, so I've converted from yards to feet. That's not what I want my end result to be. I'm looking for meters. So I Googled it, and there are approximately 0.3 meters per 1 foot. So this is the ratio I'm working with. And as we saw just above, look, my units cancel. Yards cancel, so I end up with feet. And here, I know I have 36 feet. Ooh, look, these units cancel. And I end up with approximately 11 meters that my dog has run with her zoomies. Okay, next we are on to dimensional analysis. And I know that the term dimensional analysis can look kind of scary. It's like, ooh, what are we analyzing? Why are we working with dimensions? Really, all this means is that you're starting at point A And along the way, you have stepping stones, right? To get you to your desired outcome. That's really all dimensional analysis is, right? It's just step to your final step. Okay? And we can think of these steps as conversion factors. And these conversion factors, again, are just ratios that we use to jump from one unit to another. That's all dimensional analysis, right? Just converting. Okay. And I know you've seen these before. Maybe you don't recognize them by the name conversion factor, but you know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. And you know that you can rewrite this to look like a fraction, right? So you have 12 inches in 1 foot. This right here, conversion factor. So let's look at this example. So I have 7 dozen donuts. Ooh, I wish I had 7 dozen donuts. So how many donuts is this? So I've got 7 dozen, and in this scenario, I'm going to assume that 1 dozen is 12 donuts. How many donuts is this? What you're going to do is set up your fraction so that the units you want gone cancel out. So I know I have 7 dozen. So you can think of this like 7 dozen over the number 1, right? And I know 1 dozen is 12 donuts. So I'm going to flip this conversion factor so that the dozen unit cancels out. Flip. Ooh, that was a bad arrow. Pretend that was flip. So what you end up with here is there are 12 donuts per 1 dozen. I'm going to multiply that by 7 dozen. Because remember, you can think of this like it's over 1. This way, our dozen cancels out, and we get that 12 times 7 is 84 donuts. Ooh, I wish. That sounds lovely. You end up with 84 donuts. So, dimensional analysis. Point A to point B with a conversion factor. Let's look at one more example. How many milliliters are in a 12-ounce can of soda? And if you don't automatically know how many ounces are in a mill or mill in an ounce, Google. Google is your friend here, okay? So when I Googled that, I found that 1 ounce was approximately equal to 29.6 milliliters. I have 12 ounces times my conversion factor to get how many milliliters? milliliters. So I'm going to write this conversion factor so that, again, those units cancel out. The ounces cancel out. So 29.6 mils per 1 ounce. The ounces cancel out. And here, before I round, I find that that is approximately 354.9 mils. If you gave me this answer on a sheet of paper, cool. If you gave this to me and then the next line you said, but rounded, that's approximately 355 mils. Or you said 360 mils, and I could follow your train of thought, you're good. You're good there. All right. Before we move on to the next section, I actually do want to go over one of the dimensional analysis homework problems with you, because I think it's a little harder, and I would much rather us go through it together. Let's look at number 1 on page 10 of your packet, yeah? So, given the following information, how many wags are in 22 sploots? So you'll notice here first off that I'm just using nonsense words. And that's totally fine because we can just pretend like these are units, right? We are given 22 sploots. So this is the starting point, like starting point A. And we're going to have to systematically cancel out these units so that we find how many of these sploots go into these wags, or how many wags go into these sploots. There we go. So first I'm going to write out what I know. So I know that I have 22 sploots. Okay. So if I look at my conversion factors, I can go from sploots to woofs. I can go from woofs to sniffs, and sniffs to wags, what I ultimately want. I'm going to write this 2 separate ways for y'all to see. So in previous classes, when you've done dimensional analysis, some of you have done kind of the long unit cross-out checkerboard, right? And some of you did it unit by unit. I'm going to show you both ways. They are both valid. They both mean the same thing. They're just drawn in separate ways. So first, I'm going to show for you the individual unit way. So 22 sploots. So I want to get rid of the sploots. So I'm going to say, there are 7 woofs in 5 sploots. That's one conversion there. So sploots cancels out, and I get 22 times 7 divided by, where is my calculator? Hold tight. There we go, got my calculator. 22 times 7. 22 times 7 divided by 5 is 30.8 woofs. I am now going to multiply this by my conversion factor of woofs to sniffs. So again, I want to cancel out the woofs. So 3 sniffs per 1 woof. Cancel out the woofs. Because remember, this is in the numerator, this is in the denominator. And we get 30.8 times 3 divided by 1 is 92.4 sniffs. Okay, I'm going to start writing over here so that I have room. So 92.4 sniffs times my conversion factor here. There are 15 sniffs per 9 wags, or 9 wags per 15 sniffs. So 9 wags per 15 sniff. So we're going to cancel out. Cancel out, and we get 55.4 wags. So again, we started at point A, 22 sploots, and we stepping stone with conversion factors to our desired outcome. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite this as the dimension analysis kind of like checkerboard format that you've probably seen in chemistry class. And again, both ways are totally valid. It's sometimes just easier for people to see the conversions in one form or the other. Okay, so I got 22 sploots, and I know that there are 5 sploots per 7 woofs. I also know that there is 1 woof per 3 sniffs. And finally, that there are 15 sniffs per 9 wags. So what I'm going to do is just go through, cancel out all my common units. So sploots, sploots and sploots, woofs and woofs, sniffs and sniffs. And we end up with wags, right? Now we just go through and say 22. Oh, my dog's about to start barking. 1 second. And when you say 22 times 7 divided by 5 times 3 divided by 1 times 9 divided by 15. So the same math we did before, we get the same exact answer. And sorry, you can hear my dogs being fed in the background. That's fine. We get the same exact answer of, what was it, 55.4 wags. Okay, friends. So this was the end of the second video for the math review. Again, I suggest that you pause and work on the homework at this point. If you have any questions, please reach out. Hey, better to reach out than not.